This is the story of the first person I ever knew with lymphedema, my high school English teacher, Jackie Miller. In part 2, we looked at possible causes of Jackie's lymphedema and her second battle with cancer, this time non-Hodgkin lymphoma. In this part of her story, we'll see how she managed lymphedema, breast cancer, and a final battle with cancer. My conversation with Dennis opens with discussion of a thigh-high hose Jackie wore. So she had a Job stocking, a beige, sort of a transparent
beige, yeah.
That's what I remember from high school. I mean, it did go above her knee, so it would have been at least a thigh-high compression
Right.
hose. Compression can get confusing. There are several manufacturers, and each has numerous product lines. Not only are there many product lines, but there are several types of compression. We'll talk about different types of compression in another video. For now, what I recall Jackie wearing in high school is a hose that did not have a seam. That means it was a circular knit hose, not a custom flat knit hose, which is ideal for lymphedema containment.
Now, the top of her foot was swollen to, I would say, the size of my fist.
Yeah.
And I massaged it a lot.
Yeah.
And I could take and massage it out of her foot
Right.
and get it down to a normal size.
Right.
But it wasn't long until it was back up. You just couldn't stay after it long enough to get it where it would stay down.
What Dennis is describing is a retrograde massage. This is the kind of massage I learned in my first therapy job, which was used to milk swelling out of an extremity, like a hand or an arm after someone had had a stroke, for example. But it's not the kind of massage done for lymphedema. That massage is called manual lymph drainage, which we will also talk about in another video. Notice Dennis mentions that the swelling would go down, but only temporarily. Right.
But it wasn't long until it was back up.
There are probably a few reasons for this temporary reduction. Two primary ones are likely the type of compression Jackie wore, being circular knit, and she may have needed a higher compression class. Aside from using hose, Jackie also used a leg pump, but it was the kind that started pumping at the foot and stopped near the upper thigh. It did not include an abdominal component for decongestion. We'll also talk about pumps in another video. This was Jackie's routine: a daytime circular thigh-high hose put on in the morning, daily pump use at night with a pump that milked fluid from her foot up to her thigh, and she didn't wear any night compression. As almost anyone with leg lymphedema will tell you, finding shoes can be a challenge. Jackie had that problem, as well as finding pants that fit. She found a way to compensate by buying 2 pairs of shoes and wearing men's jeans. Even though Jackie had battled cancer twice, cancer was about to show up again, this time as breast cancer. In 2000, she had this diagnosis of breast cancer.
But I think it was just during one of her normal mammograms where it was detected. And we got notice, I guess, from the doctor's office that needed to come back for a follow-up visit, and then we moved forward after that.
So what she actually had was cancer in one of the milk ducts, ductal carcinoma. So it was contained, and they were able to remove the cancer. Another cancer battle, and having lymphedema didn't stop Jackie from living life. She and Dennis still traveled. In one of those trips, Jackie developed a blood clot after getting stuck in traffic. In 2002, she had increased swelling in her left leg, and that's when she had a blood clot.
We were stopped in a construction zone, and that's when she, really started feeling some discomfort.
So did the doctor tell you what could potentially happen with blood clots? I mean, how serious they could be?
Mm-hmm. He said, when you're traveling, get out and walk every 2 or 3 hours.
Yes.
Don't sit in the car hour after hour after hour.
She faced more health complications, including urinary tract infections, spinal fractures, painful shingles that put her in the hospital, and skin cancer. But the bigger battle was yet to come. In 2003, doctors discovered a pelvic mass wrapped around her ureter, the tube that drains urine from a kidney. This tumor required an opening called a stoma and a pouch to be placed on her abdomen to collect body excretions. There was a tumor around a ureter, so the tube that goes from the kidney down to the bladder, blocking her left kidney.
At first, they tried to do a stent to see if they could open up a passageway, but I think the tumor had more or less surrounded it. Okay. And the success of the stent was not accomplished. The tumor advanced pretty well. So what was the conclusion when they tried chemo and that didn't work? We left clinic knowing that she had the issue with the tumor, and they referred her back to her oncologist. The oncologist there made the statement, they didn't tell you that this was terminal, so we found that out after we got back. They did the original stoma procedure, and then they had to come back and redo that. And the comment from the doctor was, we thought we did what we needed to do. We didn't think you would live much longer.
The tumor eventually invaded the vaginal wall, causing bleeding. Although she fought this cancer too, by 2004 she knew this cancer was terminal. She retired from teaching, and she and Dennis decided to travel more.
I could check my records, but I think it was in June, May or June, the oncologist said, I think it's time for you to consider hospice care. And we did. To me, hospice is more of a short-term terminal issue where the existence isn't very long. We went from July, August to March of the next year. So I felt like that was an exception as far as hospice care with most people. She tried to live when she felt like being out and doing things, and she did it quite well. She was a pretty strong lady, and one of her favorite sayings was, you've got to play the cards you've been dealt. So I've got to do what I have to do to fix it. And that's the way she looked at a lot of things.
Jackie passed away on March 12, 2009. Dennis, thank you again for taking time to visit with me in June of 2021 to share Jackie's story. And Jackie, thank you for being an inspiration, as someone who faced cancer several times, but defied its grip. May the courage and determination with which you dealt with so many health complications be an encouragement to others.